Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that if you're returning. How you doing? Okay, so this is the third video that I am doing on this subject, okay? And this is called Drawing from the Enemy's Mindset. Now, the first video that I did was about the playbook, okay? And the second video that I did was about, the first responders and stuff like that. And so is the first video. This is about, preparing for what may or may not lie ahead. And this is all also about, how and what led up to October 7th and the documents that were found. And this is also a good way to prepare for an if and a when. Okay, so I have a series of letters, okay, and I'm going to show them to you. But this letter or letters, because there's 5 of them, it gives like a glimpse into the mind of one of the key players behind October 7th, all right? And it shows us not just what they do, but how they think. For U.S. law enforcement and first responders, understanding this mindset can not only help first responders prepare, but also for U.S. citizens prepare and respond more effectively. First, they think psychologically. Shocking images, brutality, propaganda, they're all tools to scare, recruit, and divide. They treat their victims as symbols, not as humans, okay? But that's any perpetrator, okay? That's any boogeyman, any scary guy, okay? And ask any survivor of any kind of crime, okay? When the crime is being committed, you are not looked at as a human being. You are looked at as a symbol, as a prop, as a thing, okay? Now, for first responders, for police, for fire, EMT, okay, this means protecting the lives, okay, also means controlling the story, the narrative, making sure that the public sees facts, not fear, not propaganda, not narrative, not agenda, okay? Second, patience and staging are key. Did you ever hear of the term, the saying, patience is a virtue? Okay, well, so is staging. Okay, the plan relied on routines to hide preparation, used explosives, along with follow-on teams to increase impact. Now, for us, unusual activity. Okay, trucks, equipment, or normal movements that seem out of place can be a warning sign, just as important as intercepted messages. Third, they relied on networked escalation. Okay, multiple gates, waves, local supporters mean that if one or part fails, okay, the rest can still continue on. Responders need to look at networks, not just a single threat or single threats, plural, and act early to prevent anything else from spreading. Fourth, control is decentralized. Local extremists, I'll use that term, leads, they run their teams, okay? And they run them independently according to instructions that allow them to quickly lift and shift targets in real time. That means breaking comms, funding, and leadership early is crucial to slowing or stopping multi-site attacks. planning and exercising should assume decentralized terrorist communications and operations as well. Finally, actionable lessons from the mindset. Combine narrative, defensive, logistical, awareness, and trauma-informed response. Limit propaganda opportunities. Watch for the unusual supplies or the transport. And train the teams to act ethically under pressure. The goal here is to protect the people, deny the attackers their psychological victory, and maintain control of and in chaotic situations. So what should the takeaway here be? Understanding how the enemy thinks, not just what weapons they have or where they may strike. Give the responders an edge. Expect complex, coordinated attacks and prepare for both psychological and physical impact. Thinking like them helps us stop them before they act. Like, if you've ever watched any kind of crime detective police TV show, right? How do you think they catch the bad guy? The detective thinks like the criminal. They have to in order to stop said criminal. So, Yahya, and that's Yahya, okay? I think that's how it's pronounced. Don't come at me. Sinwar. His personal comments on the plan to invade Israel. So the following are lightly edited excerpts from a handwritten document that is attributed to his, which was likely written in or around about August 2022 when the training kicked off. It was presented for educational, analytic, reporting purposes only. So please do your own research, form your own opinions, okay? And these passages that I'm going to show you in just a moment, they show intent, they show tactics, and the mindset as well behind the planning, the emotional messaging, and the shocking imagery, coordinated multi-wave operations, pre-staged exploitation forces, communications and OPSEC, and a drive to expand and escalate in the opening hours. So the first page, okay, it says, in the name of God, praise God for everything and prayers for the prophet of prophets. The forces must take significant steps before spring, which the enemy will see as routine and which will serve as cover for the great movement. This must be ensured, especially in locations that will become the real sites of movement and attack. Explosive imagery. They put in the explosive imagery, and I know I do not have it. I'm not, and even if I did, I would not show it because I'm not here to make anybody sick to their stomach. Okay, but the photos were released. Okay, they were designed to inflame emotions and motivate the people in the West Bank, inside of Israel, and also inside of Jerusalem. They were told to avoid long explanations when calling for investigations because the images themselves would shock and scare the enemy. Those responsible must document these events and publish them quickly. Then they were given examples to record, okay? And it says shooting of soldiers at point blank range, stabbing them, blowing up tanks, prisoners kneeling with their hands raised. These are intended to produce terrifying images. There should be several images planned in advance. A number of car bombs detonated in a building or other site, causing widespread destruction. Fire would produce the intended emotional impact. So you can see how this guy was thinking. Okay, he wanted to, I mean, he wanted to mess with their heads first. Okay, he wanted to bring them down, all the way down, and never allow them to come back up to be strong enough to fight back. Okay, so here's the second page, and it says, plan to produce 5 or 6 images of this kind. And it says, leave no one alive with a heart between their ribs. I mean, how sick? How sick is that? Okay, that this is what this man wanted to show to potential victims. Okay, it says the implication is total lethality. Organize 2 or 3 actions to burn an entire kibbutz or similar target, so the place is engulfed in fuel and fire, and broadcast the footage. Opening the gates, it says. Secure points for entry of forces and multiple locations, at least one in the north, which is the Eretz, E-R-E-Z gate, one in eastern Gaza, which is the Nahal Oz, N-A-H-A-L, and one opposite the center. After the first wave, bulldozers will advance to open gates, remove obstacles, and disrupt the roads. In the second wave, bulldozers will remove checkpoints and fences. Reinforcements, it says, 10 to 15 minutes after the attack starts. Additional forces must be launched as planned to as many locations as possible. This must follow clear, pre-planned instructions, with each officer prepared to deploy and lead those forces. So, like I said, this guy was total on the psychological, bring them all the way down, show them this is what's going to happen to you and yours, and this, that, and the other, and we're going to, and, no mercy type thing. Okay. So the third page says, per central direction from the array commander and the central activities commander. The plan consists of steps and waves. The first wave is the initial attack. Wave 2 and 3 and 4 follows as planned. Each wave has pages and maps prepared and available. Activation depends on district commanders' political developments and available capabilities. An order will be issued to force commanders to activate their selected units. Objectives by sector, it says. The north, which is the strip, should focus toward the coastal strip. The Gaza region should aim more toward the northeast than the east. Khan Yunis, and that's Khan and then Yunis, should focus eastward. Rafah, which is Rafah, toward the southeast. Each commander's objectives are predefined. Wave 2 is the closest priority, then Wave 3, and so on. Page 4. Those responsible must detail Waves 3 and 4 as forces enter and engage to reduce confusion. Uniform and recognizable ribbons must be worn by all forces. Each force should wear a ribbon on the right arm indicating a name or affiliation. Offensive readiness should aim to expand the attack as much as possible. There may be Israeli groups in Jerusalem and the West Bank that also take part in the attacks. We must be ready to expand operations and, during the danger period, demonstrate control over centers of power and assign control to the most important forces. Forces may be sent to populated settlements but the main focus must remain on primary objectives. The plan requires force commanders to advance to pre-agreed locations to manage operations with responsible persons or deputies present. So they've been, it's to me, have been planning this out for well over a year, obviously, before this October 7th happened. And they literally had, there was no crumbs left behind. And I mean, nothing. They had everything planned just so. I was floored when I saw all of this. Okay. So this is the last page, page 5. And it says, study communications methods and prepare so forces can seize control and dominate the entire front, including securing military capabilities. It says, if we do not exploit this opportunity fully, the enemy may counterattack and bring external reaction, which could turn the situation against us. There is no choice but to prepare for rapid escalation, expand and intensify the attack within the first 6 to 10 hours to seize the initiative and limit the enemy's ability to respond. So, in my honest opinion, I would have loved to have been able to get my hands on the documents or inner workings or anything that had to do with Israel's side, to know, to be able to see, did they know any of this? What were their plans? How, what were their steps? You know what I mean? Because even with our military, if I were to even ask my son, he would have been like, can't say that. You know what I mean? But this is nuts. This is nuts. I never thought I would ever get my hands on something like this, ever. But anyway, all right, guys. This is the last of this videos on this subject so far that I am aware that I'm going to be doing, unless I come across something else, okay? I will see you guys in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less and God bless. Ciao.